Hello YouTube, I'm Joey Tuna and I'm standing in the kitchen of my self-converted tiny home. I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of A Man in a Van with a Pan. The first and only van life cooking show. Thank you for joining me. I am your host, Joey Tuna. I am currently living that van life. I self-converted a 2005 Dodge Sprinter van. Now, if you're interested in the van conversion, please be sure to check out my How to Build a Tiny Home on Wheels playlist. But we're here today because we're talking about van life cooking. Here is my pantry, and here is the equipment I'll be using for the show. There are a lot of options for cooking in the van. I wanted something that was compact and, most importantly, clean burning. So I went with an ultralight backpacking stove that runs on denatured alcohol. The beautiful thing about denatured alcohol is that it burns clean, and so I don't have to worry about smoking myself out in this enclosed space. For this series, I'm going to be cooking everything on my camping stove here. So let me give you a little rundown of what I have. Step one, bust out everything and assemble up my burner. This is the tank. Fill this up with a little bit of denatured alcohol. I usually get it from Home Depot. It's like $6 a quart, pretty cheap. Load that up in there, and then I have a kettle, a 9-inch frying pan, and 2 saucepans to work with. Now each of these pans has a lovely aluminum handle. Then you pick up the bowl and run it on the single open flame burner. Now that presents some challenges. 1, the handle gets pretty hot. 2, you only have an open flame. And 3, I only have 1 burner at a time. With the show, I'm limiting myself to basic tools that you could bring with you backpacking, or that you could easily fit if you're living that van life. Besides the camping stove, we're going to be using a pocket knife for the series. I have a couple of plates and some silverware. And then the one splurge I did go for is the spatula. So hopefully the recipes and the things you see on here you can apply on your next backpacking trip or the next time you want to take a road trip in your car. By limiting myself on the tools, it's really going to force me to focus on the fundamentals of cooking. Now, for this first episode, I'm keeping the techniques very, very simple. I am making a pot of coffee, so all I need to worry about is boiling water. I wanted to show you the equipment and talk a little bit about what I hope to accomplish with this series. Let's get brewing. This is how I begin every morning. I crawl out of bed and I make myself a nice pot of pour over coffee. So step 1, get your kettle and your stove here. I've filled up my burner with the denatured alcohol, so I just need to give it a light. A tea kettle, I'm going to fill up with water. And put it on to boil. Now when that water heats up, I'm going to prep up my pour over coffee maker. A lot of options when it comes to making coffee. I went with a French press for the first week of van life, but after having to clean out the grounds of the glass container, I quickly ditched that and went for the pour over. Very simple. Filter in, 2 scoops of coffee. It's about just right for this 4-cup maker. And it's good to be home. Coffee mug is a must. Let me give you a little background on my cooking experience. Now, I am by no means a chef and not even a cook. I am a former Denny's associate. In college, I did a couple of tours as a waiter. They sent me in the kitchen every once in a while, so I can make a mean set of scrambled eggs. But besides that, my cooking experience is very limited. A big purpose of this cooking show is to force myself to learn the principles of how to cook. And as I run around the country, I'm going to check out local foods, regional dishes, and hopefully meet some people along the way who can teach me a thing or two. Since I have this limited tool set, it's going to force me to focus on fundamentals. So today's fundamental is boiling water. My mom taught me that you only use high to boil water. I just have an open flame right here. directly on the kettle. Now, as I travel around the country, I'm hoping to hear from the audience. If I'm in your region, be sure to reach out to me and tell me what ingredients I need to check out, what local dish I need to try to create, and what restaurant I need to visit before I leave. If you have suggestions, you can always leave them in the comments or shoot me an email at joey@joeytuna.com. Whoop. We're boiling. And that's how you boil water, ladies and gentlemen. Whew. Alright, I got that. Now to turn off my stove. To turn off my stove, I have a little snuffer, and you gotta drop it just right. Perfect. Water, boiled, coffee, prepped, and now I just pour over slowly. It smells so good. This is the way to wake up right here. My morning routine is getting up, brushing my teeth, making a pot of pour over, and reading for about half an hour. It is my favorite part of van life. And there it is. Now we wait and let that brew, and our coffee will be good to go. All right, coffee is brewed. The top in the sink there. And this is my morning routine. It's good to be home. Delicious. Thank you for joining me for the first episode of A Man in a Van with a Pan. I'm going to get my morning started and work on this pot of coffee, but be sure to click that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications so you don't miss an episode. If you want to see how this van was built out, check out my van build playlist. If you have any ideas for dishes that I need to make, be sure to leave them in the comments. Tune in next Thursday where I'm cooking up something new. I'm your host, Joey Tuna, and until next week, signing off. It's good to be home.